Welcome back to another brand new episode of It's All Clutter with Jess Marcy. I am Jess Marcy. I am a clutter coach, and in September this month, we are going to be talking all about productivity and really the system that I am testing out right now for myself. I get so many questions about productivity, and it's something that I have really struggled with personally, especially since launching an online business and just seeing a lot of tremendous growth coupled with the pandemic kind of taking our schedules and turning them upside down. So it's September 2022 right now, and I feel like for the first time in probably the last 15 years, I am at a point where I have a schedule. I have parameters in my life with my kids and their schedules, and consistency and continuity really for the first time in like 15 years. So I can really zero in on a schedule that works for me. Part of the problem with running your own business or possibly being retired or having just a lot of autonomy in the work that you do is that it can be really difficult to schedule and be productive within that flexibility and freedom. So we love the flexibility, we love the freedom, but there's a flip side to it also where we have to manage our own time. And I think just living in this day and age, we have so much more that we're dealing with information-wise, time-wise, activity-wise. There's so many things we want to do. There's so many things we have to do. We have so much that we need to take care of. That's the clutter side of it. And it just feels really overwhelming, and we can just totally shut down and not even know where to start. I have tried so many productivity systems. I have really tried to figure out how to make this work for me. And so I think what I have come up with finally, after many, many years, so if you have been struggling with this for many years, you are not alone. What I have come up with after many, many years is something we're going to test it out this month and see if it works. So I guess follow along the journey and see if it works. The system that I'm using is kind of my own take on time blocking or block scheduling. The idea behind block scheduling is to take like tasks and group them together throughout your day. So for example, and this is one of the things that you have to kind of figure out for yourself if you're making your own block schedule. If you have a bunch of errands to run, that would be an obvious block because you're out of the house. So even if the errands have nothing to do with each other, seeing as they are taking you out of the house, they would be blocked together in one block of time. Figuring out your own tasks and how to combine them into like items can be very tricky. For example, if I am picking up my kids, doing errands or doing chores around my house, cooking dinner, would I consider all of that one block of time because I'm spending time with my family, or would I break those blocks out into other like items? Like, you have to really kind of dig into this yourself. The other issue that I see a lot of people have with block scheduling is it's one thing to come up with blocks of time during your day that make sense. Like maybe you always have a block of time between 9 a.m. and 12 p.m. But what do you do in that block? If you schedule that for errands and don't have errands to run, how does that block work then? Like, what do you do then? So I've tried to really work on this in my own head on paper. Oh, there's a whole other thing is, should I use paper? Should I use a digital system? I mean, there's so many different ways to attack productivity, and it's complicated. So let me share with you what I have worked up for myself this month that I will be testing out. It's a take on block scheduling. It's a take on bullet journaling. I mean, I really think that productivity has so many different aspects and elements, and you have to pick and choose what works best for you. But let me share what I am doing this month, and maybe you can take this as inspiration and create a system like this that works for yourself also. So the first thing that I did when I was trying to figure out my block schedule is I really thought about what happens at the same time, not every day, but what typically happens at the same time throughout the week. So, for example, I usually wake up around 6 o'clock. Like, that's just the time that I wake up. And I really worked very hard to get that wake up time consistent by attaching it to my husband's schedule. So I wake up, I know that I have to get the kids off to school. So their school day, is just typically around this time, right? So like 7:30 to 2:30. They typically have sports after school until about 6:30, where I'm running back and forth. I typically work out in the morning, so usually not every day, but when I go to the gym, it's like from 8 to 9. So we'll put that in there. Just started kind of figuring out like when I'm doing different things and maybe changing some colors so I have some variety here so I can see what I'm looking at. Usually if I have work calls, I try to schedule them between 12 and 3 because I work with people all across different time zones. So it's kind of hard to schedule them outside of these times and then also make it work for my life. So with work calls here. All right. So we have, just in general, an idea of when things are typically happening, maybe not every single day, but throughout the week. So this was the basis for my block scheduling first attempt. The other thing that I'm really thinking about is figuring out how to be more productive when I'm working. So one of my big issues with sitting at my computer all the time is that sitting down for so long every day is basically destroying my body. So I need to really consolidate my work tasks into a shorter time frame and also implement standing up and doing some other things while I'm working. So that's just on my mind as well. And I feel like I spend a lot of time during my workday in response, right? So responding to questions, responding to comments, responding. So one of my big focuses with my work is to really be more focused so I don't spend so much time sitting in front of the computer because it's just not great for my health. So this was generally, we usually eat dinner around like 7:30. So I had a couple of things that I was just kind of putting into the calendar just to get an idea, what was going on. I'm usually in bed around 10. What's happening every day at the same time, maybe not even every day, but what is happening throughout your week at generally the same time. That was just where I started with all of this. So, okay, here's what this looks like right now. Taking this as my general outline for a schedule, I figured out some blocks of time. So last month in August, if you were not watching my social media then, you may have missed that I was really working very hard to establish a first thing morning routine. Do the dishes, do the laundry every single morning, first thing when I wake up. Consistently doing that every day has been a huge help for me. And now my morning chores are very simple. Wake up, do dishes, do laundry, help my family with their breakfast, get them out the door. So that's my first block of time. My second block of time is typically when I would go to the gym, but I want to start moving more every day. So instead of, I go to the gym 2 or 3 times a week, every day there's no reason why I can't use this time to be moving my body. The other thing that I do during this time every morning is we have some farm animals, so I take care of the animals. And one thing that I've added in here is to prep dinner, because missing from my day in the past is an opportunity to really figure out what's for dinner. I am not much of a meal planner, but I can take 15 minutes in the morning and figure out what we're going to eat for dinner. So I put that into this next block of time from 7 until 9:30. One of the big issues that I've been struggling with is my transitions. Transition to work, transition to home, transition back and forth. When you work from home, it's really hard to have those boundaries. So having actual time where I am planning to transition is very helpful for me. So I have a half an hour for transition to work. And what I need to do during this half an hour is eat breakfast and take a shower every single day. Because otherwise what happens is I skip breakfast and then I'm starving, or I'm squeezing in a shower right before I'm hopping on a call. It's just not working well for me. So having a transition to work where I do these two key things is it's going to be really important. Work is next. So I work from 10 until 3, and I'm taking a half hour at the end for planning and eating lunch and cleaning off my desk. If I can accomplish those 3 things in this half hour, I will be really set up for success. Within my work time, I am definitely trying to be more focused, and I've figured out this is going to change a little bit, I'm sure, but just focus time within, like, how is my work day going to go? My next set of tasks that are similar to my life are home life things. So running errands, doing house projects. This is when I typically am out taxiing my kids around. I'm just out and about. I tend to be driving during this time. So I decided that from now on, for September, all of my appointments are going to happen between 3:30 and between 3 and 6, because I'm already out of the house. I'm already in that mindset of being on the go. So anything that I can fit into this time, any appointment that I can make within this time, this is when I'm going to do it. I also would like time for extra house projects. We have a big event coming up in October at our house. We have a lot of house projects on the list. So just focus time for house projects that are not chores. They're not my everyday. They're above and beyond. If you're working on organization, this might be a time where you're spending time on organizational projects. I definitely have a couple of cabinets and drawers that I want to just hit once this month, make sure they're cleaned and organized, just so that my life can be more functional. But this is the time for all of that to happen. Now, every day it'll look a little different, but it's my dedicated time to work on these things. Finally, we have dinner and chores down here. So these are the routine chores that have to happen every night. Eating dinner, cleaning up the kitchen, picking up the floor a little bit, whatever that is, dinner and chores, which are different from house projects. I do have another work block in here just for a half an hour. I have virtual assistants that work most of the day, and I want to have some time to just check in with them and just kind of wrap up my messages and whatever, which is what I tend to do at night. I feel a lot better going to sleep if I just get this taken care of. So 9:30 or 8:30 to 9 is my last work half hour, and then unwind and chill. I actually never do any unwinding or chilling at night. It's always kind of a rush to the finish line, and I would like to change that. So this is an effort to do that. My blocks of time are morning chores, workout and food prep, transition to work planning time, home life stuff, dinner and chores, a little bit more work, and then unwind and chill. So those are the blocks that make sense for me. Your blocks are going to be a little bit different. And what I've basically done is just taken this and printed it out. I have it on a clipboard. I have a whole week's worth. And then I also have printed on that clipboard a sheet where I can actually write what I need to do during some of these times. For example, home life stuff. So this seems like, okay, I'm going to do errands, house projects. I'll be taxiing the kids. But what are those house projects? It's really helpful for me to actually have a list of what those house projects are and to have a time frame for each project. So for example, if I just have a half an hour, what project can I bang out in a half an hour? I think a lot of times we set up these block schedules, but then we don't have an idea of what needs to happen during that time. We don't have a list to pull from. So that's really key to my success this month, I think, is having that list to pull from. Also for dinner and chores, having a list of food ideas, meal ideas, figuring that out. And I will be building out these, what I can do during this time. This is kind of like my, what I can do during these time, dishes and laundry, whatever. What else can I do during this time? I've already noticed I can add some things to my list. Like one thing I realized recently was that I need a dedicated time to clean out my Roombas. When am I going to do that during the day? So if I just have 5 minutes and I want to just get something done, I can just take care of that right now. that's what my block schedule looks like. I will be updating on YouTube and Instagram, so make sure that you follow along how this is going, how it's changing, and if it's working or if it's not working. So I would love to hear some of your thoughts and feedback, questions. If you're wondering what program I'm using to make this sheet, it's called Lucid Chart. I love Lucid Chart. There's a free version that you can get, but I would not focus too much on making anything pretty. It's more right now about figuring out what your blocks might look like during the day and how you can start to incorporate block scheduling and productivity hacks into your everyday, if that is something that you're interested in doing. Stick around, there's more to come. Comment, like, follow, do all the things, and have a great day.